All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the From the Jump podcast. I'm your host, Nick Ozuna, at Dunks by Nick on all social media platforms, and I'm here with my co-host, Andy Belay.
Yep. Yep. My name's Andy Belay, 5'10", 22 years old, and I've achieved a 44-inch vertical, and we have a very special guest today. If you want to introduce yourself.
What's up, guys? Dylan Haugen, 5'11", 17-year-old dunker from Minnesota. Almost said it wrong. Just turned 17 recently, but yeah, excited to be on, boys.
I forgot about that too. Not only did you gain a year, you gained an inch.
It's
5'11
true.
now, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow, 5'11".
Big
Yep.
5'11. Everybody hates because I always put 5'9 on my dunks because without shoes, like I'm 5'9 and 3/4, but they're like, you should
Yeah.
just be 5'10.
Yeah.
So,
I was 5'10" and like 3/4 without shoes for the longest time. And I just always said
mm,
5'10", so it doesn't
nah,
really matter.
yeah, it's not that
But yeah.
deep. But
Yeah.
so yeah, man, just tell us about your past, because honestly, I don't think I know too much about it. So how did you get into basketball, and then from basketball to dunking?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been in the dunk community for a long time now. I started enjoying basketball probably around fifth grade. I played quite a few sports when I was a kid, Um, just to name a few, like baseball and soccer were kind of like my main ones. Dabbled in basketball a little bit because my dad was pretty good at basketball when he was a kid, so he always kind of like wanted me to play basketball, but I just never really liked it that much. And then one day, I remember like specifically this day, like I walked downstairs and my dad was showing my brother like a Michael Jordan video, just like his like top 50 plays or something like that. And that was the first time that I watched like basketball highlights. Like I had seen games every now and then, but it was just like, whatever I had been to. And I just remember like seeing that dude jumping like crazy high. I heard 48-inch vertical at the time. Now I know that that's not entirely accurate, but that really got me into it. And when I was that age, whatever that was, like 11, 12, I would just practice basketball by playing on a 7.5 foot hoop with a tiny ball because I didn't really care that much about, basketball. I was just enjoying what I was doing, and I messed around with it for a long time. Eventually, fifth grade is kind of like what I said. Like that was the year that I started taking basketball like seriously. I was decent in fifth grade. Didn't play on like great team or anything like that. But I messed around on low rims a lot. So I think that we'll get into it later for sure. But like that was the biggest thing for me when it started. Is like I started low rimming before most people even know about dunking. So that's kind of like my thing, I guess. But yeah, eventually I was also I also really like doing YouTube, making content. When I was a kid, my videos were terrible. Some of them are still out there. I've gone through and got rid of quite a few of them. But yeah, I was just always making content with my brother. And yeah, eventually I was, trying to figure out like how to grow and stuff. So I just was talking to everyone that I could, messaging like what I considered famous people. And one of them actually got back to me, and that was Jordan Kilgannon. And I knew nothing about him when he got back to me. I was literally just messaging like big basketball creators. Like I didn't even like look at his account, which is hilarious now. But I talked to him and did some stuff with him. He actually shouted me out in one of his videos, which I thought was like super cool at the time. But obviously, once he got back to me and I realized like this dude has hundreds of thousands of followers, like who is this guy? And I looked into his account and I scrolled on his stuff for hours and just seeing these dunks like I never knew were possible because I was in the same boat as most people thinking that NBA players are the best dunkers, and then I see Kilgannon out there doing things that I had never seen before, and so that really got me into dunking. And so again, around that time, I was like 12, 13 years old when I started talking to him. So again, another kind of head start, very lucky moment for me to be able to have someone like that. And I'd send him my videos and stuff, and yeah, just kept low rimming, trying new dunks, and then eventually, started going for high rim. But yeah, we can get into that whenever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. So it seems like low arm was pretty like essential into your come up, dude, and like your hand speed is so crazy. I mean, how long have you been hitting E space for? I mean, you have a 41 now, but you've been hitting E space
Yeah.
for a while, yeah?
Yeah. Um, so yeah, when I was 15, like 2 days before I turned 16, actually, I hit my first East Bay on 9, 10 and a half. So, count it or don't count it, whatever. I counted at the time.
I count it.
I
Yeah,
count it.
we'll take it. We'll take it for 15, I guess. But yeah, I tested a 37.5-inch vertical at Dunk Camp 2023. Was it 37? Yeah, 37 and a half inch vertical, so almost 38 that year. And I wasn't really happy with that. I think I could have done better. I was suffering with a lot of knee pain at that time. So when I hit my first East Bay, I probably had around a 39-inch vert, which is decently high, but
Right.
for someone that's only 5'10" to hit an East Bay with a 39-inch vert is like ridiculous. Like basically every single dunk that I've hit, like every single trick dunk that I've hit, I think I've probably had like the lowest max touch out of anyone to hit that dunk. It's like hilarious.
And bro,
Um,
it just goes to show that like how much that low rimming really does matter in the end. It really could replace inches of vert, clearly.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially your
that's always
hide and
been my
seek.
process.
The video of your hide and seek was actually insane to me. Like it was like the perfect example of hand speed. Like I don't think I've ever seen someone your height do it, and it's like your hands just perfectly like this high,
Yeah,
and it's
I
like
didn't get high at all.
what?
Yeah, I've been trying to push that message for a while, especially with that video. I was like, all right, this is the one that will really hopefully show people the importance of low rimming and just having good hand speed. Like the day before that, I probably spent an hour after camp on 7.5, just like throwing the ball and like working on it and just throwing the ball into the rim. Not even like because I wanted to make it. I mean, obviously I wanted to make it, but that wasn't really the goal. I was just like bored, so just messing around. And the next day, we're at the show, go up, hit it first try. Like wasn't even expecting to make it. I just, if I'm missing dunks, I just sometimes go for stupid stuff because I'm like, whatever. Like I gotta do something to, get stuff going. Made it. So I was like, yeah. But yeah, like you said, barely got above the rim, and just because of the pass, like, yeah, it's like it's crazy to see, especially when I watch it back. So
Yeah, bro,
Yeah.
that's pretty insane. But let's see, Andy, do you have a question you want to ask?
Oh, I was not. Let me see. Actually, we have questions written down for you.
Yeah.
Actually, and
yeah,
stuff. Let's see. Oh, a big one. So when I first met you, you were a lot younger, and I
yeah,
was just only a few people knew me because of like TikTok, and I wasn't very good at dunking per se. Yeah, I was just jumping pretty high. But then like they told me about you, and I looked at your page, and I was like, dude, this guy's social media is just crazy. Like he's got good engagement, content on all platforms. Everyone follows him. And then in your last pod, you talked about how important that is to becoming a pro dunker. So, what are some tips and tricks that you do to have consistent, good quality content on every single platform?
yeah, for sure. This is something that I actually love to talk about. I try to push it out in the podcast that I do as much as possible. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been doing social media and just making videos in general since like I was probably 11, 12 years old. So it's just kind of been a part of my life for a long time. But I do think that, especially in dunking, I say this a lot. I love dunking, but the simple fact is, dunking does not have as big of a market as I feel that it should. So, like, you have to expand the market in some sort of way. I talked about it in the last podcast, but basically, like, there's in different sports like basketball, like, you can just be good at basketball, and people will see that because there's, people watching the games and stuff and you will get opportunities because of that. But nobody is going to pull up to your dunk session and be like, oh, come be, in this dunk show. Like it just doesn't really happen. So the only real way that you can do that is with social media. And I think just starting out, posting your dunk sessions is the easiest thing. Um, I think that everyone that doesn't post their dunk sessions is missing out on quite a bit of like a possible income source. Like I've been able to make money just by posting my dunk sessions in the past year, and like that is super cool. Like I go to the gym and I make money by dunking. It's not a lot of money, but it's just like a little bit of money. And obviously, the better you get, the more views you get, the more that'll be. So I think the biggest thing that you can do is record every single dunk session you have, keep an archive of all your dunks in your camera roll, and then work on short form content. I think for short form content, which is definitely one of the biggest things right now, has very big chance of making money if you make it on there. And it's not that hard to make it doing short form content. You just gotta be consistent and post a lot of videos. So one thing I was talking about with Michael recently, Michael Ursana, is like every single dunk video that you post doesn't like a lot of people just post like their dunks. I've done this a ton of times, like just post a dunk and be like, I did this today. It doesn't lead to a ton of engagement. And although like that's what I want to see because I love dunking, so like, for example, if Andy just posts like a raw windmill, or Nick, you're posting like, your first off dribble one hander or something like that, like that's really cool for me to see. But the simple fact is, again, a lot of people don't really care about that. And that's the unfortunate thing. So you kind of have to like make content out of dunking instead of just using dunking as content. So, for example, like, if you guys watch Mike Rosanna's videos, make a lot of people mad, but they're all marketing genius. Like, it's like dunking with one hand, dunking with two hands, like just stuff like that. It's the simplest thing ever, and it still gets people to engage. So, like,
Right.
Michael is a genius. Like, I will always say that Michael's a genius, whether you like him or not, bro. He's a genius, and he's actually a pretty good person when you get to know him. And again, like he's mastered it like that. So that's someone that I look at a lot for ideas for dunking content, just because of like all the random things he's come up with. And so yeah, he's one person I look at. But yeah, I think just working on it in general, video quality is going to be super important. Like if you're posting super low quality videos, nobody really wants to watch that, unfortunately. So yeah, just like if you can invest in a tripod. That's what I always tell people. Like it's $15, bro. You can get yourself a
Yeah,
tripod. It makes
dude.
everything so much better.
One dunker that I will say is super underrated, but his videos sometimes aren't the best. I AJ Ackerson, bro, he'll be hitting 360 East Bays
Oh yeah, yeah.
outside.
AJ Atkinson's crazy.
Yeah, he's got
I was
some
just
bounce.
talking to him about that, bro. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he
love
just has
AJ. So like I
seven.
hate this where like I hate to like tell it to people's faces because I'm like, I like watching your videos just because it's dunking. And again, like I like just watching dunking. But yeah, like if you're doing like those like choppy cuts and then, like zooming out, zooming in super quickly and like you just can't really see what's going on. Yeah, it makes it really hard for everyone to see what's going on. So like if you're gonna do slow mo, don't make it too slow. And if you do want to make it super slow, then invest in CapCut Premium and do super smooth slow motion or whatever. But yeah, just stuff like that. Like don't use too many filters. Don't be too zoomed in. Don't be too zoomed out. Just make it simple and easy for the viewer to see what's going on, and that's really gonna help you a lot.
Right, and I totally agree. I really like saying. I was actually talking to other Dylan from Utah. We had him on the last pod we were gonna make, but we were talking to him and about how dunking is really like a two skill sport. I mean, not only do you have to be really good at your skill, but if you want to do it at a professional level, and you're right, get any notoriety at all, you have to have some sort of level of knowledge in the social media space. And like for Dylan, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Dunks by Dylan. Like he hates social media, and that really sucks because Dylan is a really solid dunker, bro. Like he's almost hitting
Yeah.
under both, and yeah, bro, it sucks for all those guys out there that are super good but really can't, or just don't even want to do the social media side of things.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it, but yeah, again, like you said, like it's just kind of something that you have to do, and it's not like
Ooh,
a lot of it isn't really that difficult. And I think a lot
yeah.
of people
Well,
don't realize that.
I was actually wondering
Yeah.
just now, like, if in a hypothetical world where social media wasn't as important for dunking, would you be doing social media? This goes for both of y'all.
No,
I wouldn't.
If you could make a full time living off of dunking,
Yeah.
I would not, honestly.
Yeah.
I
It's a
think
part
I
time
think
job, man.
I think I would, but not for like money or for attention, just mostly to like archive my stuff. That's kind of like what
Mm.
I've always done, like with YouTube. Like I love, and also like kind of like what Isaiah does on YouTube. Like I love helping people jump higher in general. I haven't been doing a great job, posting a ton of educational content recently, but like kind of like the podcast. Like I gain nothing from the podcast. It's just fun to like share people's stories and stuff. So I think I would, but definitely not as much as I do now if I didn't have to rely on, the
Yeah.
income part of it.
For
Right. I
me,
think.
I also I don't like doing the short form stuff, honestly. I mean, I do
Yeah.
it
I'm not
because
a
that's
huge
what
fan
got me
either, yeah.
going. But YouTube, dude, I love YouTube now. Like, I get to
Same.
post mic'd up workouts. I literally posted 3 months of videos with no jumping about my back recovery, and I got all my subscribers just from that. And now I'm jumping again, and now it's like I don't know. It's like
Yeah,
people will click on your
exactly.
video because they can pick it pretty much.
There's a lot more of like a community because of that like choice. There's a lot less like that's I'm not gonna get too far into it, but like that's why I don't love like I've moved away from TikTok, unless it's like for sponsored posts or something like that. But
Mm.
just because of like the lack of community, it's just like endless scrolling. And again, I'm not gonna get too far into it, but I don't love apps like that. I do love YouTube a lot though, and I wish that it wasn't treated like a little kids app by some people because
Right.
it's you can gain the most value by far out of YouTube out of any other social media. So yeah, it's the best.
I think out of all the social medias that I would do, I'd definitely keep a podcast. I really like the fact that we can sit down with guys like you, and especially since like dunking is such a wide, like everybody's everywhere. Like I think from starting this podcast, I've talked to, connected with so many more people. Like we started TFC, like I've met so many more dunkers that I just never would have had access to or even thought about having a conversation with.
Yeah, same. I've met a ton of people, and I think that was the main reason I wanted to start my own is like growing the sport of dunking first of all because
Mhm.
it's just more content out there for people to watch, but then also sharing dunker stories, and then also something that I didn't realize until recently, kind of like when you guys started yours, is like I love listening to other people's things, and I didn't really think about it when I started my own because obviously I'm in the conversations all the time, but like listening to your guys has been great because there's a ton of podcasts out there, but there's not that many podcasts that are centered around dunking. And I think a lot of people in the jump community, you know, just like driving around, like if I'm in the car, like I always want to have, some sort of podcast playing, It's just like
Right.
gaining knowledge while doing nothing is great.
Do y'all know of any other dunker podcasts? Because honestly, I've only known of yours and Isaiah's.
Yeah. I
I
know
think Jump Master has
THP.
one, right?
Who?
Jump X has one, don't they?
Oh,
Yeah,
I bet they do. I bet they
I've
do.
I watched the THP one for a really long time. They haven't been doing as much on like Apple and Spotify now. But yeah, Jump
Mm.
Master X with Kilgannon, they've just started doing it. Jump X before, the merge had a lot going on. So
But you're a
yeah,
part of that, right? That's pretty cool.
yeah, yeah. So we can definitely talk about that a little bit. But yeah, like last year, right around the time when I got my first East Bay, they reached out to me and they were like, we'd love to have you on the program, whatever. And yeah, I've just been training with them. Obviously it's been ups and downs in the training just because of basketball specifically, which again we can get into. But yeah, it's crazy. It's very hard to train during basketball season, but you know, I've gained a ton from that.
So
And
you
since the
are still
merge, it's
currently
been
playing?
crazy. I Yeah, so I mean, I played obviously, like I said, like started taking it seriously in fifth grade. Um, I played AAU most years, which is like summer basketball. Did that in ninth grade, and then 10th grade, like summer after 10th grade, I decided not to do AAU because the year before my knee pain. That's when knee pain like really started to become a problem for me. Not like anything serious, just tendinopathy. Um, so yeah, I was just like, you know what? I really just want to take dunking seriously. I didn't have a ton of fun playing AAU last year. Let's just see where this goes. And obviously had a really freaking good summer. So yeah. And knee pain was like basically gone during that. So like, if you're playing basketball and you want to dunk, I would suggest not doing AAU. Just helps a ton with the body. Yeah, I am planning on playing this year. Um, I don't know. I don't really know what to say about basketball right now. I have a love-hate relationship with basketball just because like I
Yeah.
enjoy playing it occasionally, but I don't know. There's a lot of downsides to it as well. And it just takes away from dunking, which is, my main thing. So yeah, it's difficult. Tough decision.
Right. So you wouldn't probably end up playing it in college or whatever you
Yeah, I
decide to
mean,
do?
I used to think I wanted to, but every single year I've just like realized like I really, have something going in dunking, and
Right.
I know that if I go to college for basketball, it'll take away from that, and so I do feel myself. Well, at this point, like I'm definitely not going to college for basketball because I've
Mm.
not practiced enough anyway. I mean, I probably could have if I would have like actually tried, but after like eighth grade, I didn't really practice that much. I was just so focused on dunking, and yeah, so probably not a possibility anymore. But also, I don't really care because again, dunking is the main thing. So
Dunking, man.
Bro,
yeah,
that contest at your school was really sick. How tall were those guys?
yeah. So that was like a Minnesota state dunk contest or something like that. So it had that was really cool contest. It was just like all the not all of, but quite a few like the best basketball players in the state, and it was really funny to be there because they invited me the year before, so like October, like literally right after I got my first East Bay. The dude that runs it, super nice guy. Saw the video on Twitter or something like that. He literally just invited me on the spot, like, come to this September 14th, and I was like, okay, like, yeah, obviously I'll do a contest, but it was so far in the future that I didn't really think about it too much. And then as we got closer, I was like, dude, like he picked me up at a time where I was not good at all, and now I'm like way better, like. So my dunk package went up a lot during that year. Um, so yeah, it was just like me versus a bunch of 6'8" guys basically, and yeah, it was hilarious.
It was really cool just to see how like you can be. I mean, I've seen it like CJ, like T Curry, like the freak professional dunkers. But it's cool to see how like you can be 5'10", 5'11", and out dunk people that are like 6'5", 6'8". That was really cool.
Yeah, I thought the coolest part was that I don't play basketball like seriously, and all those guys are like going to, major D1 colleges, and like I just go in there, 5'10", 5'11" white guy, and literally nobody expected me to win. It was hilarious. There was like one guy that was like, "Oh, I know you. You're winning this," and then it was like, yeah,
Yeah, he knew. All right, let's see what else I got. Oh, was the Minnesota Dunkers gonna do the Halloween costume dunk thing that the Utah thing was putting on? Did you see that?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, I think we lost him.
you're back.
Oh, there it
Oh,
goes.
he's back. He's
I
back.
don't know what
Did you?
happened. How bad? Last podcast, my internet was tweaking. I don't know what's going on. I reset it and stuff, but
Bro,
I
this
think we should be
podcast
good
stuff, like, so much goes into it, dude. Like, my mic was
now.
shitty, my camera was shitty, everything was shitty. I'm just getting better every pod, but yeah, hopefully this
Yeah.
one turns out good. But the question was, will the Minnesota Dunkers be doing the Utah, like, the Halloween costume, like, dunk contest thing they were gonna do? Did you see that?
Oh yeah, I did see that. To be honest, probably not. We might get
Mm.
a submission in. I would like to, but like I don't know. I feel like if I knew about it like a week ago, I might have done it, but I don't really have anything to do that in. And a lot of the guys on my dunk squad, to be honest, have not been super consistent recently. Like I'm like
Mm.
I dunk every single week, like no question. Most of the time, two
Yeah,
times a
yeah.
week. But most of the guys like, no, there's one other one. Tyler dunks every single week, but most of the guys are just kind of like, if I'm available, which I understand because obviously they're busy with like college and stuff. But at the same time, I don't understand because I love it so much. But I'm biased, so yeah, I
No,
don't
that's
think
kind
we
of
might get someone to do it though. We'll see.
yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. Like when I first started the Texas flight crew, I got a bunch of guys together like a year and a half ago. I was like, let's do this, and then no one but me was active, and so I met Nick when I moved to Austin, and dude, we finally got like 10 members, and like all of them are pretty active, and they want to start getting into it. So hopefully we are able to do it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was
yeah.
like,
Potentially.
I've
you just gotta put
I've
on a
been
costume and do what you
excited.
do every weekend.
Yeah, exactly. I have I have a ton of people in there, but it's the thing about me is like every time we get a new member, like I just instantly want to coach them. Like I'm like, I really want to, um, I just want to make you like the best dunker possible, and I'll get to do that for like 2 weeks, and then I'll get a little inconsistent. Again, this is nothing against my guys. I just really want to see them, dunking with me more often because I think that I can definitely bring a lot of value to anyone during any session because again I'm just good with hand speed and stuff. Even if I'm not the best dunker at the session, like I can generally help anyone on any specific dunk. So Yeah, but yeah, we've been getting a lot of group sessions recently, but um, it's like always different people. So yeah,
Yeah, bro. I think that's really cool. I think a lot of the teams just throughout the states are low key like dying down nowadays. Like I feel like Florida doesn't post as much nowadays. California's always kind of been iffy, but I mean, I feel like
yeah,
Utah and Minnesota's been probably the most consistent.
yeah. I would say I've been the most consistent in Minnesota, just posting and stuff.
That's how
I
it
do
be,
all the
man.
posting, but there are some other guys that will post for a while, but yeah, just everyone in my group's just crazy busy all the time, so I can't blame them. But yeah, Utah's always been on top of it. It's crazy.
How far is Utah from Minnesota?
Um, like 3 4 hour flight. I have no clue
Oh, flight. I was gonna
about.
say.
I have no clue about drive, but yeah,
I was gonna say we're trying to make a trip up to Utah either this December or summer, but we were gonna see if a TFC Minnesota Dunkers collab could possibly happen at some point.
yeah, bro, that would be sick for sure. I went
That
to
would be
Texas
sick.
one time, but it was like a long time ago, probably like 5 years ago. I don't
What
even
part?
remember much of it. I want to say it was. Don't quote me on this, but I want to say it was Austin. I don't remember
Oh,
though.
really?
Awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
it might have
Yeah.
been.
Do you remember it at all? Like, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it for sure. But I don't really remember too much of it to be honest. Yeah,
Bro, I
it
could
was a
not deal
while
with the
ago.
cold y'all deal with, bro. I could not. I'm not shoveling my driveway. I'm not driving in
Yeah,
that shit.
yeah,
I'm
it's
not
not as
dunking
bad
in
as it.
that shit.
Yeah, bro. I dunk shirtless in the winter, bro. Outside.
You never
Neg-
like fallen?
what?
You never like
Oh
slipped and
no.
fall?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. But I only generally dunk outside if there's no ice. But
Uh,
you can generally control the ice pretty well. But yeah, there's also
yeah.
gyms, so there's really no point.
yeah. We
And
stay inside if it gets below like 30. Like we can't function out here.
if it's below 30, people die in Texas, Dylan. People
Yeah,
die.
Yeah, our pipes break. We start freaking out.
yeah,
People start taking all the toilet paper from HEB. Like it's bad.
yeah. That's
But
hilarious.
let's see what else. Hmm. What do you feel like the key to your bounce has been? I guess just major
Yeah,
things.
yeah. So I mean, kind of like I was talking about earlier, just jumping. Like I can't even remember a time that I wasn't jumping. I probably started lowering, or not lowering, but just like jumping and trying to touch the rim and stuff when I was like 10. Um, and so yeah, like started jumping at like 10. Um, I remember I touched the rim in seventh grade, got my first dunk in eighth grade, first windmill in ninth grade, East Bay 10th grade, and then this year probably gonna hit under both. So I think just being like generally consistent, like even if it wasn't like, I jump like now I jump Wednesdays, Saturdays. Like it's even if it's not like that, but just like I've never gone a week without jumping except like the one time I've been injured. Um, yeah, like literally just jumping every single week has been huge. Learning jump technique from a young age was huge, and then this isn't really about jumping, but just doing like lower rim dunks and just trying to do every single dunk that I see online on a lower rim has been very good for my trick dunks, obviously. And then obviously, um, yeah, I did some other programs in the past. Some of them were good. Some of them I probably were good. I just wasn't very consistent with. But staying consistent with Jump Master X for the past year has really transformed my vertical and just strength in general. So yeah, that's been the key to like the 4 inch increase I've had in the last year. But yeah, generally
Just
just being
jumping.
consistent with jumping is like the major thing that I suggest for everyone, especially when they're super young. So yeah, never go a week without jumping unless you have crazy injuries going on. But
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
I think that's where I'm really struggling nowadays because I came in super strong. Like I've pretty much been able to squat 315. Like maybe maybe took me a year to get a 315 squat, like from nothing to 315. And
yeah,
then like I was always strong, but my problem is translating the strength to vertical. And sometimes I just get in my head, bro, just dunk depression, just like I feel like I'm jumping, but I feel like I'm not moving anywhere.
yeah, yeah. I think that's a huge, problem for a lot of people. Obviously, you don't want to like go too fast into jumping and just give yourself tendonitis within the first week. But I think that a lot of people when they're first starting out, kind of look for like, exercises on what's going to make me jump higher, this, and that. And it's like the main thing is just always going to be jumping. And
Right.
especially for people that are just starting out, low rimming more specifically, because if you
Right.
do want to become like pro one day, you gotta be able to do more than just jump high. So yeah, I think low rimming is really like the best thing you can do for yourself. But
Hmm.
obviously, you have to do strength work as well. So you have to have a good balance. But yeah,
So, what do you feel like you would go back and change, if anything, about your training?
I feel like I'm probably one of the only people that's gonna say nothing. Um, maybe start, maybe be more consistent with strength training earlier on. Probably do more ISOs. But generally, like dunking wise, I think, I mean, obviously, I would go back and, train myself or whatever. Like with the knowledge I have now, I would be probably a lot better now. But generally, like, I think the most realistic thing is change nothing just because I did a lot when I was really young, and I don't think that I would have been able to handle um, much more, to be honest. So, I mean, obviously, I would coach myself on dunks and teach myself dunks at a younger age, but generally, I think, if you start jumping when you're 10 and you learn jump technique at really young age, like that's just the main important thing. So, there's definitely some things like, starting strength training, perfecting jump technique, perfecting dunk technique, but, all that is going to happen over time anyway. So, honestly, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah, you are the only person that's ever told us that. So.
Yeah. I have many regrets in my
I
training
mean,
too.
who knows? Who knows? When I hit 20, like my knees might be destroyed, and I might be changing it, telling everyone like, don't start jumping until you're 13 or something like that. But I highly doubt that. I mean, I've every person that I've seen that's jumped from, really really young has ended up being really really good, unless they, do something that is not good for them. So yeah, I think that's the main thing for anyone that's starting out is just go out there and jump, learn about dunk technique, jump technique. It's the main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just talking to you, one thing I would have changed about my training would have been just like diving into dunking sooner. Because when I was in school, I played football from 6 years old all the way to 18, and
Yeah.
all I ever thought about and watched on YouTube was literally dunkademics all day, every day. And like I would dunk a little bit every now and then in the off seasons, but like if I would have just been like, man, I like dunking more than playing football, I feel like that would have just, I don't know, leveled me up because I jumped to a point where I jumped really really high, but like you said, like the years of just like low rimming and hand speed, like I jumped 40 when I was jumping 44 inches, I still couldn't East Bay every sesh. It
Yeah.
was like it's like man, I'm jumping, get my head near the rim, and I'm still missing a windmill. Like what's going on? I'm just that dude who jumps high and can't dunk, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, like I said, like especially when you're young, it's a lot more doable because you can jump every single day of the week. Sometimes, depending on the case, obviously, but you can jump a lot more, and you can still get those reps. Like, I'd have sessions like, in the summers, I'd have like 3 4 hour sessions every single day, because I was basically putting no load on my body because of how low I was jumping. But, just learning those dunks, even when you're jumping like that low, is, helpful. So really just when you're young, like you just gotta do it as much as you can. But,
Yeah.
it's hard to tell that to a 10-year-old, like, go
Right.
train to
Right.
be a pro dunker. Like they don't care. So
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
hard
And
to
now
tell
that
that
you're
to
jumping
anybody.
high, man, now that you're jumping high, you're like front rimming and back rimming under both. So
yeah.
Dude, you're
You,
almost there, bro, I swear. Within the next
yeah,
couple months, I feel like.
I had that one day where I literally backrimmed it like 3 times, and since then it's just been like, oh, I'm gonna hit it today. No, like I don't know.
And then the
It'll,
groin thing happened,
it'll go
huh?
down eventually.
speaking of, how is
That
your
was weird.
groin or ab?
Yeah, it's completely fine. I
Oh, okay,
just
okay.
it's yeah. I just did under both too many times. That's really it. I mean, I had a session on Saturday, and then I did even more on the next Wednesday. And I did it again on Saturday again. and then it was just like, yeah, I was dead. But it just took a few days of rest, and I was able to actually jump the week after. But it was very inconvenient because I couldn't really brace my core, um, while doing squats and stuff, which, as you guys know, is very important. So I kind of had to like relearn that, even though I was like only not doing it for a week. But yeah, totally fine now. So most stuff like that I like freak out about, and I make a big deal out of it. I'll go and talk about it on YouTube and whatever, and then it's just like I really just needed to rest for 2 days. But you know, I always kind of assume worst thing, and then it ends up being fine. So
Same.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, bro. I remember we were talking to Dylan, and Dylan's going for underboths too, the other one, and he asked Donovan like, "Hey, what's your advice for underboth, and like, how do you get it so consistent?" And Donovan was like, "Yeah, I get asked by like a ton of people, but like, I just do it. I don't know how, so I always have no advice
yeah,
for them whenever they ask. It's like he's just a
yeah.
freak, bro.
The thing about Donovan is that a lot of people don't realize, and I didn't realize this until I started talking to him a lot recently, is like he low rimmed a lot as a kid. He just like doesn't
Really?
talk about it ever. Like, so I think that specifically like dunks like that, first of all, his body might just allow him to do it better than most people. Like, if I did under both 100 times in a day, my back starts hurting a little bit, my abdomen starts hurting a little bit. But so maybe his body allows him to do it more. But also, I would bet money that he's done that dunk on low rims more than anyone else in the world. So that's
Okay.
that's most likely the reason. So. But yeah, again, he did that when he was a lot younger, so maybe that's how he was able to handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Speaking
mean,
of
I had no
finding
idea.
out, like crazy information about people, Hiram, who was on your podcast, we dunked with him Sunday in Dallas because he was in town.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That's cool.
Yeah, and then we did like a little interview with him. Did you know he broke his back before?
I did not know that.
Yeah,
Dude,
he told us.
he's one of the craziest people I've talked to, just like life wise. Like he just has like so much random stuff that he's good at and like he's done. It's insane. Like did you see the flip he posted the other day, bro? Like he flipped
Oh,
over
tumbling
he
We're
did
from
a
like 6 foot
side
off.
flip over something that was like 7 feet tall. I was like,
taller.
bro, what? It was crazy.
And it's
But
so
yeah,
funny because
Me
bro
and him,
literally
different.
just walks up to the rim and just jumps up 48 inches. It's insane.
I know. He
we were
jumps
both
straight
having
up.
bad days, and he was still flying, dude.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's crazy.
Yeah, he was telling me he only gets to work out like 1 day a week with his job because he's driving everywhere. Which really, it's
Yeah,
it's it's like what could be, you know what I mean? If
I
Hiram
know.
like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's crazy. Although it is kind of a cool job at the same time because he's like I almost got to dunk with him, but we just had basically poor communication, and I was kind of gone. I was on like a cruise or something, but yeah, like he gets to go everywhere, which is cool. But yeah, it would be super interesting to see guys like that train, every day of the week. But yeah, it's
right. And
unfortunate.
hopefully he ends up doing that. I think right now it's a money thing, but I think
Probably.
that would be a really cool thing to see.
Yeah.
Let's see. Any other
So many
questions you got,
guys like
Andy?
that.
Hmm?
Any other questions you got?
Let me double check. That might be all of them. Let's see. Oh, what are your favorite shoes to jump in?
Love this question.
Yeah.
Um, Recently, I got them right here, but these things, leaning gamma ones. Um,
Mm.
I mean, I will obviously recommend anyone who can afford them to buy them. I was stalking these on all resale websites for a long time, just because they're literally $500 retail, which is ridiculous.
Oh
So
shit.
do not buy these for 500. They're not worth that much. But I got them for like 200, 220, which is still a lot for shoes. But yeah, these are the lightest shoes in the world, like literally the lightest shoes in the world for dunking anyway, or for basketball. Leaning has great traction, or just way of weight. Like basically any Chinese shoe brand that I've had has had amazing traction. So those are the two main things, and they got carbon fiber on the bottom, which is, as we know, pretty good for jumping. Not in insoles, in the shoe
What are,
that is good for
what
dunking.
are, what are y'all's bad shoe experiences? Like what shoes do y'all hate?
KD 15s.
I was not a
They
fan
had
of
Damn, two
KD15s
KDs.
either.
yeah. KD15s weren't good, but the KD14s were really good. The KD15s just like every time I planted, the plastic shank on the side would literally dig into my ankle.
Yeah, bro. I don't know why these shoes have plastic on the sides. I had some witnesses, bro, and I still have scabs from the witnesses, dude. Scars till today, bro.
Yeah. I I'm looking around my room here and like I can't really think of any that I've like don't like just because I've tried on basically every shoe that I've had or they've just been sent to me and they're generally pretty good if they're sending them to you. But yeah, the one shoes that I do remember that I like absolutely hated is I played in some high LeBrons one time and it was like no,
LeBrons,
never again,
man.
dude. The 20s are okay, but I have like I've planted and I've just like slipped like 4 inches in them. And it's like, how does that even happen? So yeah, and I have to like do a weird thing when I'm tying them every time to like avoid heel slippage. So I guess those were basically any LeBron. Not a huge fan of, but
La
yeah,
ankle injury, man. La ankle injury, bro.
And
yeah,
then my
seriously.
favorites were I have a leaning All City 10v2. Those are really good. And then I got Hyperdunk 2017s, and
I
they're
got those
super
right here
good.
too.
Yeah, those are
Those are
fun.
great. I've never had a bad pair of shoes from Way of Wade. Literally never.
Really?
Yeah, I
Y'all
can't
both
think
preach
of
way
a
of Wade. Maybe
single
I need to
one.
get some.
Yeah, I
I got it
love
because of
the
hype, and I liked it.
obviously the Way of Wade 10s are good. I love the All City 12s. Those are my main pair before the Gammas here, but yeah, I still wear those all the time. They're pretty cheap too. You can find them for like $90 on most resale websites, which is cool. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah, bro.
those are great.
I just got some Jaws. They actually didn't have as much traction as I thought, but they're pretty comfortable. I don't know if
Did
you
you
ever
get
use
the
Jaws.
one or twos?
I got the one. I got like the day one version of it.
Yeah, these ones.
Oh,
But
really? I like the
Oh,
yeah,
style. Like the style's super cool, but
yeah,
like
I love how they
I
look.
would right. It looks just like a
I've
sneaker. Like
yeah, I've played a lot more basketball in them than I've dunked in them. It's funny, like all my like basically all my Nike shoes I like play basketball and then all my like way weight shoes I dunk in, which is like pretty
hmm
random, but yeah, I do like I don't know. I like some shoes like differently based on whether I'm dunking or playing basketball. I don't know. Like the traction on those like isn't amazing, but it doesn't really bother me too much when I'm playing basketball just because it's like it's good. It's not amazing, but yeah, it's funny.
yeah. The first thing I noticed when I put them on the court is I was like still sliding, and I was like, these are new shoes. Why is this
Yeah.
like butter right now?
Yeah. The annoying thing is that a lot of shoes now, they'll put like, I don't even know what the proper word is, but it's like almost like a layer of plastic on the soles, like when you first get them, like for whatever reason. So like you'll get them and the traction will be like bad at the start, and then you just break them in and like it slowly like wears off on it. That's the only thing that I will say about some weight shoes that I've got is that they do kind of have like that weird break-in period where it's like they could be good, but for some reason they have like this weird material on the outsole. So
is it like that
yeah,
translucent thing that they talk about?
I'm not even sure to be honest, because like I've had it on shoes that have translucent and solid color outsoles, but yeah, it's weird. I don't know why they do that.
So for outside shoes, what do y'all jump in or like to jump in?
Way of Wade.
Yeah, I use the same Way All City 12. I have three pairs for whatever reason. Um,
Damn, sounds like
yeah,
I just need to get some Way of Wades.
I got one of them for like free for like a review or something like that, and then I got another one, and that was like so I decided like all right, I'll just use these for outside, and then I got another one recently because the ones I've been using for inside probably aren't gonna last forever, and you know gotta have one, gotta have some for the future because I don't know how long they'll be selling them for. So but yeah, I basically wear generally just Way away it all around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, man. Well, I think that's everything we got. I appreciate you for coming on, bro. Dylan, it was
Yeah,
great
for
meeting
sure.
you, and
Yeah,
hopefully we
bro.
get a TFC Minnesota
Yeah.
Dunkers collab
So what I've
at some
learned
point in the
from
future.
today is, yeah, what I've learned from Dylan is if you want to get good at dunking, you have to
Dunk
post,
a lot.
low rim, and start young. and you'll be one of the best.
And you'll have
Hopefully.
little to no regrets.
Yep.
Yeah. Appreciate you.